Yes, hello. Good morning. Good morning, Grace to Kenia. Good morning, Susan. Thank you very much for being part of this first Global Riders Live after the summer break. I'm really happy to have you here. Thank you very much. And I think also to the audience, thank you very much. Welcome when you're here and just ask your questions. And sorry for my English. I'm the only one whose mother tongue is not English and not Swahili. And not...
That's not true.
Okay, but you're very close to it. However, I pass you the word, Susan. You can take over, please.
Thank you so much, Andreas. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much, dear community. Today we are channeling to YouTube and Facebook because of technical problems on LinkedIn, but we are here. A great topic. You have a joint. I cannot do this because you have a joint project. We're going to talk about that. Andreas will show us in a bit after the introduction, the points we're going to discuss. And I'm so glad that you're here. Amazing, amazing. Dear Grace, would you like to introduce yourself to the community?
Yes, thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Andreas. Good morning to you and good afternoon to me. Yes.
It's true.
Yes. Yeah, so for those who do not know me, my name is Grace Mwari. I run a motorcycle tour company here, which after COVID also became a off-road riding school. We do tours and training on motorbikes, on off-road, because we want to share the experience of wildlife, culture, and scenery in Kenya. And we have a joint project with Andreas to do the tours and leave a positive footprint wherever we go, to enjoy ourselves, to leave the same good memories and positivity to the places that we go to.
Oh, wow. Amazing. I love that mindset of yours, that mission. You just don't just ride, you leave impact. We make changes. Each step we make, we leave an impact. And we hope that we want it to be a positive impact. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dear Andreas, I think your community knows you, but maybe you'll just try to tell us what you are currently working about and why we're here together. Not in details, we'll talk about it in details, but what brings us together today.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, okay, as many people may know, I founded quite a while ago Global Riders, and that was pre-corona. And the idea was actually to connect local motorcycle tour guides like Grace and me, but also around the world, other tour guides, to connect them. And we wanted to go live, actually online. We're starting to show the website and everything, which we had to prepare still. And then that was in March, planned for March 2020. And then we had COVID. So you can imagine the mess we had. And we could really follow the virus. I had a network, or I have a network for about 120 tour guides all over the world. But about 40 are not existing anymore. Either health-wise, really very sad stories, or economically, that they did not survive. And actually, Grace is really a role model in that, because she was really, when we talk about resilience, or we talk about agile mindset, and this being flexible, she did it. I mean, you will tell probably more about that later. How you made it in a short story, and you're really a role model. And for me, it's really great honor to work with you. And I really, really hope that we can fill this tour with a lot of fun guests, because I'm so much looking forward to that. I almost start to cry, I'm really so much looking forward to that. And this is actually the reason. This is our first project for now Global Riders, which is not at all ready. We don't have the website ready. Nothing is ready. We should start now, because COVID forced us to stay, or to become flexible, and just to do it in a different way that I actually originally planned to do.
I understand. Thank you so much for these great words. Yeah, we have to make the first step and think out of, how do you say it? Think, look for alternatives, even if it's hard.
Yeah, maybe I can quickly go to the comments. We have already some visitors. Unfortunately, I don't see who it is. I just see a LinkedIn user. Thank you very much. And we have here a LinkedIn user who is also blinking with the eyes.
Thank you so much.
Someone saying us hello to everyone. And here we have Natalie. That's really great to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Natalie.
So
glad
then
to have you here. Would you mind showing us the points, the topics we are going to discuss today?
That's the first one, yes. Maybe you can guide through them.
Yeah, sure. The first one would be, Andreas has mentioned us a little bit, highlights of the joint project of both of you, of global riders exploring the Kenyan trails. And the second one will bring us to that what Grace also said, global riders, you won't just like to ride, not just ride, but leave an impact. And today we'd love to know what's your contribution to sustainability. And the third one, very emotional, very important, very relevant, a special awareness project, Children's Rescue Center. And Grace, you'll tell us more about that. Thank you so much.
I just can tell you something about that third point. One thing. When we were talking about it, Grace and I, we both started to cry in front of the computer.
Really?
Yeah. I'm Norwegian. I don't cry normally. I don't know why, but since I'm involved with Kenia somehow, probably that's what makes it happen.
Wow. Wow, yeah. That touches me so much. That means it's an emotional thing as well. And that's good. That's good. I love it. Now let's start. Highlights of the joint project in Kenya. What's the project all about, dear Grace? Exploring the Kenyan trails, the culture, the people, the projects. Please continue.
Yes. So, well, Andreas and I have something in common, which is motorbikes. And we both love our country so much. You see pictures of Andreas touring Switzerland with the beautiful mountains, and it makes me want to ride there. And I do the same in Kenya. And he wants to ride in Kenya. And with this common interest, we realized we can make a joint project where we ride in both our countries and showcase in Kenya. I would love to share, we have so much wildlife. We have 44 different languages, which is like 44 tribes. So there's diverse culture. I would love to show people this. And then the scenery. Kenya is a small country, but beautiful scenery. And all these places, you see the best on a motorbike. And that's why we want to do enduro hiking in Kenya. We want to bring the memories of Kenya back to Switzerland and the entire Europe. And for this, Andreas and I decided we're going to do it as a joint project. And as you spoke about it, and we will talk further about it, we will not just be riding, because it's not all about being on the bike. It's also about the places we go, the sustainability we live, or the positive impact we leave with the people where we go to, people, wildlife, even the environment itself. So we thought this was a good point to bring us together. And that's why we are doing this.
Great. I love that. Great. Yeah, from the ethical side of view of sustainability, in everything we do, we interact with people, and we make a change to them directly, and they also make a change to the environment they're living in. So we have to think about that, not only of the experience we want to make as riders in that case, but also what are we leaving behind. I love that. That means you're going to visit, you're going to see, so you have something for yourself. The people on the tour, they have something for themselves, the experience, but you're also going to interact with the community, the local community. Did I get you right?
Exactly. So we will be riding for many reasons. We love motorbikes. We want to enjoy. Everyone wants to enjoy, it's so much fun. But even before we ride, we're going to ensure that everybody is feeling safe and they are safe from that party and safe from themselves. And with this, we're going to do a training. With the school that I run, we have a track where we teach people the basics of off-road riding. And we will also do a training tour, a short training tour from Nairobi. And this will be to give people the confidence. If you've been riding on the road, never been on off-road, we want to give you this opportunity to learn the skills and techniques of off-road so that you feel safe as we go to explore the real country. The real country out there.
The real country,
People
away
don't
from
go.
the Mombasa beaches, right?
Yes, away from the city, away from all the cars and the honking. And, we want to go to the real country, the authenticity. We want to feel the authenticity of the country. And for this, we need to be safe with our skills. We need to be able to know the defensive techniques of if there's a antelope or a goat or a chicken or a dog crossing the road, how am I going to brake, or what's my reaction so that I don't panic and things like this? Or there's so much to learn, and we will spend these 2 days, one on the track learning the basics, and as a short day trip to give every rider the confidence before we start the big tour. So I answered your question on that, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
So I love that. Safety first, mindfulness first. Otherwise, you cannot enjoy, and otherwise, you cannot leave that positive impact we're going to talk about.
Exactly. Yes.
Great,
And
great.
that's before we start the tour. And then when we start the tour, then in the real country, we will meet wildlife. We will also have an education about wildlife. How do you react? Is it dangerous animals that you see on the road, or is it the herbivores? You see zebras and giraffes and all these kind of animals. And then while we are riding, we will see them. Well,
Great.
it's not like I'm not promising, but high chances of we will see them. 90% we will see them. But then the dangerous animals, we will not go to places that we have that. We will have a day set for a game drive inside the national park where we are safe inside a car and see the lions and the cheetahs and the buffaloes from there. So there'll be also that side of safety when it comes to wildlife. And then the scenery, I know we can't compete with the mountains in Switzerland, but we also have beautiful scenery and I say every place is beautiful in its own way.
Oh, yes.
So
Oh, yes.
So there's the beauty here that you will see that you've not seen anywhere else, because every place has something unique about itself.
Absolutely.
And then, yes. And then
I'm getting homesick now as you talk, my dear.
I know. I want you to come back home. Yeah. But on the trip, this is the most emotional part, and just in case.
Just in case. Take the tissues with you.
Yes. So we will meet the people of the real country.
Right.
And their ways of life are different from the way we live in the city, in Europe, or even as I live here in Nairobi. It's totally different. And we will stay with these people in their kind of setting and get to understand their cultures. Sometimes when we don't know people, we judge them. But when we hear their stories, we understand why they live the way they live. And we want to stay with these people, understand their culture, understand why they make certain decisions. And in the process, this is where we will do our project of the leaving a positive footprint. As we help the community, we also, as they educate us about their culture, we also educate them about things that improve their community, and also as we live positivity in their communities.
I love
So those will be the highlights in the tour.
Those are real highlights, and I'm really getting homesick. And I have a tissue here with me. I love that. So let me just summarize. You're going to have a lot of stations there. It's not only about the animals, it's about the confidence, the setting, the culture, the scenery. And the scenery, I mean, with the scenery, I mean, it's not only about the animals crossing the road, but also the landscape. The Rift Valley, I'm sure you're going to cross that or something like that. Great.
We will be right in the middle of the Great Rift Valley.
Wow, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
I think
Andreas,
we have to organize a bus where you can follow us since you do not ride a motorcycle yet. But
yes, do that. Do that.
Yes.
Do that, and maybe you can do a live session in between the tours. Why not? So that you give us a report from Kenya.
Exactly.
if we
Yes.
have connection, Grace will have to tell us. I know we do not always have connection, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. And but as soon as we have this connection, we should do that. We will do a live session there for sure, together
Yes,
with you.
we'll get a possibility. We'll manage that. Thank you so much. Dear Andreas, after all these beautiful words and, after Grace made me homesick, what about you? I have a question before you add something on that. But let me see first. Thank you, Natalie. You are happy to be here, getting ready for a message, but I'm here. All the best. That's a good thing. Before we go to the comments, dear Andreas, how is it if you love riding in Switzerland in this setting, the setting you are comfortable here? How is it for you to ride in Kenya?
That's a good question. And I think that's the important point also about global riders. I mean, I have been to Kenya for sure, but not really riding in the wilderness. What I have seen is only a part of a very small part of Kenya. I have a slight idea about it, but not more. So, and that's why we said, or I created Global Riders, because we need local tour guides. Now in Kenya, it's really obvious that we need them because it can also be dangerous if you to go on the wrong place. The only thing I know, you will not be attacked by a polar bear. That I'm sure. That I'm sure. But there's some other things we are not really sure. If that's the problem. When you're a foreigner and you have never seen a country before, you don't know how to judge or how to measure the danger of the country correctly. You probably think in Nairobi there are lions all over. I know it's not like that. I have been there, but that's where you have the wrong pictures and everything. And sometimes also those unwritten rules, like Grace explained me once. There are some areas where they can ride, where you are allowed to ride, Grace, because you have commitments with the elders of those tribes, And I think that's very important, that you are also respectful. It doesn't matter where you go. The host tells the rules. So same thing when you come to Switzerland with the group, then I have to tell you about our rules, and I will show you also the hidden spots. And maybe we can also ride in some places where it's normally not allowed officially, or maybe, Switzerland is very organized. So, but we also have those possibilities to visit places that are not allowed of normally. So, and this is the point why we need those local motorcycle tour guide, and was always my goal. I want the local know-how. I don't like the idea. I may make some enemies now with that, but I don't like the idea if someone goes to an island somewhere or to a beach area for 3 times and then he calls himself an expert. Yeah, he may know the roads, but nothing about the culture, nothing about the people, nothing about the unwritten rules and all that stuff.
I understand. And is that what Grace said? If you go somewhere, be open, don't judge, but try to understand. And to understand, you need to change perspective, and you need the locals.
And let me build a bridge maybe here to.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Thai Bentre, I would read, but probably completely wrong. Hello to Vietnam. I know he's also a motorcycle tour guide, and this is building bridges. If we would go to Vietnam, Grace and I together, we would be lost, and he would probably be lost in Kenya. So that's how we want to build bridges, to help each other, to support each other. But also, let's talk about that later. We have those topics later in a while. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Thai Ben Trade. That's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Vietnam. Now, you made a link to our second point, dear Andreas, and there I would start with you. You are the CEO of Global Riders, and a lot of team members from all over the world. I would say, what's your contribution to sustainability? What values? You mentioned the first one being working with locals. That's for me part of sustainability. It's more than just reducing or the climate change thing. But please go on. What's your contribution to sustainability?
Yeah, it depends really also on the country where we are. Let me use the example Switzerland, where we have Swizzlybiker here, Swizzlybiker Swiss tour guide. And here we do, for example, a tour with electric motorcycles. I mean, we have this technology here, it's very, how you say that in English correctly? All over is a village or a town somewhere. There's not a huge wilderness, so you don't get lost. So you can charge your motorcycle. That's why we do that. That's the pollution one. Let's say that. But there is much more than only that. Like in Kenya, you can't ride an electrical motorcycle in the wilderness. You will get lost at least at the moment. Who knows what the future brings? But what I understand on the sustainability is that the money that we invest for doing this motorcycle trip stays in Kenya. Okay, the organizing company also will get something for sure, and the airplane we also have to pay. Airplane for sure is also a problem with pollution and everything, but we cannot say we do not allow to travel anymore. We have to allow traveling, but the airplane companies, the aircraft companies, they have to do their job to become more sustainable. That's one thing. And on the other hand, what we can do all the rest of our trip to create in a sustainable way. So the money has to be to stay at the place that we visit. It would be in Vietnam, we would keep it in Vietnam. If we visit Kenya, it has to stay in Kenya. If we visit Switzerland, it stays in Switzerland. That's the idea behind it. And also what I want is that we attract those customers who are interested in the culture, who really like to understand the culture, who, like you and me, Susan, who try to build bridges. We are not different. We are all the same, but we have some different cultural backgrounds. And it's very important to understand each other. So that's what I think this combination of this trip what we are planning to do in Kenya is really the role model, I think, for all the trips we're going to do in the future. We combine it with, we get skills in enduro riding. So we become better motorcyclists. We have a lot of fun because we can explore new things. We learn how good we can manage certain things. We can also build a bridge to business because when you're a motorcyclist, you have to stay flexible. That's business that happens all the time. So that's this thing. And then you learn from other cultures, from other areas, and you come home with a happy face. You will tell your family, your friends how nice it was. They will all be jealous because you had the chance to see something very deep into the culture, the area, the fauna and flora in German. I don't know how to say it in English. And that's the idea. I hope I could say it in a way that it's understandable.
Thank you so much. So if I got you right, you said it depends on the country, like here in Switzerland or in Germany, you do the zero motorcycles. You have a lot of projects, and that goes towards pollution. In Kenya, for example, you leave the money there. You'll work with the locals. You'll create local jobs because leaving the money on the road is also not good. But you work with the locals and do impact, create awareness, and that's our third point. Also, they can invest that in education, and you build bridges, or we build bridges. And what I love about that, if we understand other cultures, we collaborate on eye level, and that's also sustainability. Sustainability is not about Europe pouring money in Africa, but creating, such collaborations where we collaborate. Actually, we don't like this is a god, this is a small person, but we collaborate, and that's for me sustainability. Thank you so much. Grace, would you love to add something on that before we go to our third part, the highlight?
Well, yes, because for me, sustainability is really important. And like I personally, while I'm guiding people in Kenya, and sometimes, okay, we have everything in the support car. We have the petrol, food, everything. And then I ask myself, okay, I brought everything, and what am I contributing to the people here? So I will not buy from their shop. I will not buy from their petrol station. What am I bringing? So one was I am a guide. but also the locals who live in those villages know those places you don't know, even if you're from that country. And giving them jobs, just that 2 hours guiding, it's really important for them. They are able to sustain their families. Second thing was, in every place we go, let's identify what the people there need, what kind of help they require. We just don't go and pass by their fields and leave. We enjoyed, and then what? What did we leave there? So for me, it didn't give me like a guilt conscience, but it gave me this kind of a feeling like I am supposed to contribute, to be one with these people. If I am going to where they are, if it's their forest or their schools or the families in these communities, I need to be part of them. I need to feel that I am them, to be able to share that experience with the people that I'm taking there. And for this is what this motivated sustainability in the places we go. So you'll find in some
Wow.
places the sustainability is about education, other places it's about maybe water projects, other places is rescue centers. So it depends with the destination we are going to, what is the need in that destination. Because yes, we will come, we can buy petrol in your petrol station one day, tomorrow buy food from your kiosk, but that doesn't help continuously. So we looked for a way that we can live sustainability and it continues. It has continuity, not just a one-time thing.
Oh,
And
yeah, I love that word, continuity.
and
Continuity.
yes, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad that um, Swizzlybiker wants to do this with us in Kenya, because then we will be able to create even a bigger impact. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Great, great. And yeah, you have to be part of them so that also they accept what you suggest, but it takes time, you know that. I remember in another context, and then we come to a third point. You once told me, I'll never forget that. If you see people cutting trees, you'll not judge. You'll first understand before showing them alternatives.
Yes, I used to be in the same shoes. I would go to places and people are cutting trees, burning charcoal illegally. And I'll be like, what are these people thinking? Why can't they think of saving these trees? But then one day I sat and I realized, oh my God, they don't have an alternative.
Yes.
They don't know what's out there. They don't know what I know. And it's upon me to share it with them, to tell them, by the way, this acacia tree that you're cutting down could be a source of honey. The honey could be a source of revenue for you. You'll take your children to school with this revenue. Like, it's instead of judging them,
Yes.
it's you give them alternatives. Okay, because you'll tell them, don't cut the trees. And then what?
They
They don't
won't
know.
eat, maybe.
Okay, you don't want me
Yes.
to eat, you don't want me to take my children to school. No, but when you give them alternatives, because you've been more out there, you know more alternatives than they do, then it's sharing of knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great, great. So for me, just wrapping up from both of you, sustainability is about responsibility and keeping on asking yourself, what can I contribute, depending on the setting, on the country, and of course, not waiting for others to do something, not let it rain from heaven, it won't. But the question is, what are we leaving behind? Which message and which impact? Great. Great. Thank you so much. Hi, Melissa. Nice to have you here. This is a wonderful project. People will get a chance to see and experience the real beauty of a country. They will also gain awareness of traditions, cultures, and people. Absolutely.
It's absolutely correct. And we have another voice from Kenya.
Hey, who is there? Lillian, where are you? Hello from Kenya. Feeling I don't know that word. I've lost my English.
Ecstatic.
Ecstatic about the Kenyan tour. I bet it's gonna be an adventure. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Then we can build a bridge and do burn actually. Max, nice you made it. Huh?
Hi, Max. Nice to see you again. Been a long time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, coming to a third point, Andrea. So, did you have something to add on sustainability?
Yeah, I could talk about it probably for hours because I love the topic. And I mean, Grace is really, as I said, told you, it's officially I'm the CEO, but she should be the CEO because she is really full of fire. She's really great.
No,
Really
it's
great.
okay.
Yeah,
The work of the CEO is to get the right people, and you got her.
yeah, yeah. No, it's great. It's great. To have this community that because in these global riders now we are really different people from different continents with different backgrounds, and this makes it so interesting. We can help each other, we can learn from each other, we can inspire each other, support each other, and build bridges. And I think that's a very important thing. But yes, let's come to the third point here.
Thank you so much, Andreas. Yes, you've got a special awareness project, Children's Rescue Center. What's this rescue center all about? And what would be your contribution to that? Grace.
Well, this is
The emotional part of it.
yes, and you bear with me if so. The rescue awareness, the awareness project is about, as I mentioned, in every place that we go, in those places there's a need. And where we will be going with the tour together with Andreas, Swizzlybiker, it will be on our way to Masai Mara. And there's a place that we visit which has spectacular views and has one of them. It's like a sacred forest, and the community there are very. They love their forest so much. They've protected it for many years. Sorry, I'm running out of breath before I talk about this. So around this forest, it's called the Loiter Forest. There's a village, and well, it's a number of villages. It's in the close to the southern border of Kenya and Tanzania, and we used to ride there quite a lot. And this is one of the places where we wondered, okay, if we come here, what are we living? How do these people live? Because we would stay in a small campsite deep in the forest. We used to interact with the elders. The Masai community would be our guides as we walk through the forest, go for a swim in the river, ride to the viewpoint. And we never, well, they taught us so much about their culture. And one day they introduced us to a lady called Francesca. She has an English name, but she's typical Masai. She's awesome. She's so authentic. And what Francesca does is she has gone through so many problems in her childhood, but she managed to get educated. And now she's there. She's like a role model for the girls and even boys in her community around this Loiter Forest. And she now runs a children's rescue center called the Namelok Naretoi. And this rescue center, um, about in around 2010, the year 2010, they were supporting about more than 500 children. And now they support about 200, and they have 52 who live in the center. And to me, that is a good thing. Change is happening from 500 to 200. So now it ranges between 200, 300. It depends. So what does this center do? In this community, or in the Masai community at large, in their traditions, we have early marriage, girls getting married as early as 9. Yeah. There is FGM, that's female genital mutilation, and then education. And then there's one other thing. The fourth thing is children with disability were taken as a curse. So if you have a child, you give birth to a child with disability, they are disowned or they are kept away from the rest of the community. And Francesca has been taking care of such kids, takes them to her children's home, And through the help of people who want to contribute to sustainability, she has been able to take most of those children for corrective surgery. And when these children get the corrective surgery, sometimes the parents want them back. And sometimes the children don't want to go back, because if you didn't want me with my disability, then why do you want me now? So some of them stay with Francesca. She looks for schools for them, education, they get a job and all that. And then about the FGM and early marriage, actually those go hand in hand. You go through FGM and then later you're married in exchange for cows and things like this. And some of the girls, because they know Francesca has been through things like this, they run away to her. So she takes them in, and sometimes the father or the mother, the parents, will come and steal back the girls to take them to the husband because they already took the cows. And so such kind of girls, she has to take them to schools far away, of course, with the help of the local government. And she has to take them away to schools where they won't be stolen back into a marriage when you're 9 years or 13 years old. So this is another kind of work that she does. And then education comes for both the children with disability and also those she's rescued. So the children with disability, there's also boys. And then, for the FGM and early marriage, it's mostly the girls. And she has to take care of these kids. And she depends on good people. So sometimes when we go for rides there, we take whatever we can. Sometimes we take books if the children need to go back to school. Sometimes we take clothing. And sometimes if we have money, we give them money because they need to buy food. They have bills to pay for the rescue center. And that's how Andreas was kind enough to want to do this joint project where because we are going into this destination, we help this rescue center. And I wish Francesca was here, but she's busy taking care of the kids. But I wish she was here to say it herself, because I think I'll save the details, the real details of what happens there. I'll save it for when people come here and they feel it for themselves.
Yes.
And we need to, when we go there, we need to educate them and also, leave good energy with the children. And when we were talking with Andreas, I told him sometimes we have tours and you don't take them there. When you feel that these people want to go, okay, it's normal, we're humans, and okay, let's go take pictures of these poor kids, blah blah blah. But no, we don't want that. We want it to come from the heart. We're going to help. It's not about pictures. You can take pictures if the children agree. It's not my call. But the point is to leave them a positive impact and great energy, encourage them. If one is able to sponsor a runaway kid or a kid who was rescued from early marriage to education, things like these, there's many needs. And Francesca herself doesn't want to make these like, oh, we are poor, we want your help. It has to come from your heart. What you see, what you feel, and give it back, because they go through so much, and we can only understand these when we go to this place and understand their culture, why girls have to be married at 9 years to a person you imagine you're a 9-year-old girl and you're married to a 50-year-old man who has 6 other wives or 7 other wives, and it was only in exchange for a few cows. It's sad.
It's sad.
Then yes.
And I really lack words. But as you also said and pointed out towards trees, there's another negative impact on the children. It's important to understand why they're doing that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you don't get to the root cause, then we can't help. And it's important, as you say, Francesca says, away from the victim role, but just say, what can I do? How can I contribute to that? Even if I save only one child, and the child will also tell that those are multipliers, actually, I love that concept. And I'm so happy you're doing this amazing work and you're creating awareness for the real need, real need. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Does Francesca or does the center has a website where we can follow that later on?
The center doesn't have a website. It's quite a small center in the village. But I shared some details about the center that Andreas will share, where we will put the information landing page for people to see about the tour and the project we will be doing.
Please
so at the
do.
moment, the school doesn't have a website.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
it's some of those things you go deep in the village and find, and who would have known?
But how does I love that. I mean, if you don't go there, you won't really know the need. You'll just stay on the surface and think everyone need a motorbike, but maybe some are still here, and
yes.
Yeah. And how does she get, if she didn't know you before she knew you, how does she get to know the people who can help her or give her this support?
She literally gets people to give her support through word of mouth, literally.
All right.
But sometimes I say it's not a bad thing, because that's how you get the right people, So Masai Mara is a place with lots of tourism, and not everyone is going just for the wildlife and the scenery and all those things that get us excited even while we ride our bikes. There are people who also are looking for places to leave a positive impact like we want to do now. And that's how she manages to get them, from word of mouth. Like I knew about her from the campsite that we used to stay in the forest. And then through another tour guide in Kenya who also came across the school, because she's so friendly. Actually, one day in the campsite, she was one of the ladies who helped to cook dinner. And I had known her I had heard about her for a few months doing tours there. But this night when she was helping make the dinner, and I realized, wow, this is a good woman. She's actually doing it from her heart. And I wanted to be part of helping her. So she gets to know people who help her through the sustainable tourism around Masai Mara area.
I love that. And that the community is growing. The community who really want to help and share. I mean, to hear those stories from the locals and share that's great. That's great. Exactly. Amazing. Thank you so much, dear Grace. I'm looking at the time and I'm looking at Andreas. He's just fascinated from what you're talking about and from your projects. Dear Andreas, would you like to add something on that?
Yeah, sure. I would like to say something. First of all, on the scrolling text, you see a site with which I did install. If someone wants to support this, how you call that correctly? It is a rescue center, right?
Yes.
This rescue center, that's possible, because that's one idea what we want to do. We want to help those people. We have a lot of people who do not travel by motorcycle, who will not join us, but who would probably share a little bit of what we see there, and we're also saying, okay, we can afford a little bit amount, to help us. So the idea behind is actually that we collect some money in the beginning at least, and Grace will then find out what they need, and we can then either buy there, because transport sometimes is not so easy from Switzerland or Germany to Kenya. So it's maybe easy that we buy it there. So it's a part of sustainability. So we leave some money there, we buy it somewhere, and we bring it to this rescue center. So, and that's actually the idea behind it. And this we want to do all over the world, actually. Also, when we visit other places, that we find something where we can help the local people and also give them a voice to other places in the world where we know it probably from the news a little bit, heard about it once, but our problem very often is when we go to the big organizations, which are doing, I'm 100% sure, a great job, it's very anonymous for us. So we don't, sometimes we don't trust them really. Where does the money go? And we would like to show, that people see where it goes to. It will not be a huge impact, but at least some help. And I think that's the important thing. And for sure, if we have some people who want to offer a little bit a bigger help, then yeah, sure, we're open that for, because I think helping is always something good. And there I want to open something. Which just a few weeks ago, we had also some catastrophes here in Europe, a lot of floodings and stuff like that. And helping also there became suddenly also for people who are actually quite wealthy, a basic need. They needed help, this basic help, what we sometimes forget about it in our comfort zone where we are. And I think that's a very important point, that we, I don't know how to say that, even in German I would have troubles, that we appreciate what we have and that we try to share with what we can. You cannot give your money to all over the world. That's not possible.
No, you cannot.
That's
And
not
as you say,
possible. No.
What we always say with our projects, the Andreas building bridges, we always say also not to make people feel small, but you empower them. You let them shine,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why it's important. And Grace told me that in a very important sentence. I mean, I've been traveling around the world and I've seen a lot of people begging, our children begging. And this is not really the comfortable way and the right way to do it. I also remember from a person who could have been my great-grandfather. When I was a little boy, he told me how it was in Loiter Forest, where I grew up, a very touristy place, that he was a child. And then a lot of people from England, they came then to Switzerland, and they were very rich. There was 1 pound was 4 francs, the value, and they were looking for jobs. They were sitting there, waiting there, even just to carry a suitcase or something. So it's not a long time ago that we had these problems here as well, which just my generation, we don't remember, we don't know it actually. That's the problem very often. Huh?
Yeah.
So, and I think, when we can afford to ride a motorcycle and to do this tour, then it's a good thing to help and give it a reason somehow that we can help someone. I think that's the important point and the important message about it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, empower and enable. Yeah.
Yes. If you can ride a bicycle, if you can afford such a tour, then you can afford a stopover. Interact with those children, get to know them. Don't just send money, so that you really know where your money goes and really see them as humans as well. I think it's also not a matter of, he sends me money, that's good, but also you see them as humans and also empower them and let them shine. Amazing.
Yeah. Susan, just to add on, to break it down to what Andreas talked about, you said like not to make people feel like they are the victims. And then Andreas talked about the point of sometimes we go to places and we do things out of goodwill, but we are turning people into beggars. And that is like, we are on a tour, we carry sweets, okay, good. Or we carry balls to play with kids. But when we find them on the road and give them there, then tomorrow when they wake up, they will go to the road.
And wait for that.
Yes, if we go to the schools and give the sweets there, or the books and the balls and everything, the kid will be enthusiastic to wake up and go to school.
That's a very important point.
Very important point. Very good point. I love that.
The other thing about helping, I believe that the whole world, not only Africa, the whole world needs help. And this is something I learned from people I took on a trip. They were from Spain. And we were doing a project somewhere else in Kenya. That was a water project. And they told me, okay, we would like to invite you to Spain and help there. And I'm like, what kind of help can I offer? And they told me, you need to come to our children's school and talk to them. Let them understand culture. Let them understand about wildlife, about how privileged they are. They have all these things. The knowledge, sharing knowledge. It's about the simple things in life. Everybody needs help, may it be money, food, or knowledge. So
Exactly.
with
We all learn
global
from one
riders,
another. Yeah.
yes, with global riders will be able not to just help with those things that people think are help, but also the knowledge, going out there and sharing experiences. Like, imagine kids who've never gone out, like every day dad drops you to school, picks you up, but you don't know the world out there. And you need to meet global riders to know about the world out there.
I love that. That's
Yes.
the way we change perspective. I mean, if
Yeah.
people are ready to listen, they'll always learn from each other, and it's a process.
Mm.
And that's maybe
Great.
one
Thank
thing.
you so much.
Maybe one thing we forgot actually about that. And I mean, how did you learn to ride a motorcycle? This
Oh my
story,
God.
that's a very, very short story. But when I think about it, when I heard about it, living in Switzerland, a Kenyan learns motorcycling in the Himalayas in India. What does a Kenyan do in the Himalayas? I would say that's impossible, and ride a motorcycle, that's pure luxury. That's not possible. So this is this wrong picture what you have in your
Yes.
mind, but you made it possible, and that's what I like so much. Maybe you tell it in a short story and in a short way, because that's what also makes you as a person so fascinating, to be honest, how you made it happen, and you I think you motivate other people like you do already, the women empowerment and teaching children with
Sure.
your school.
Yes.
I like this, and also you, Susan, you do the same thing with the IT stuff, that's also a great project. And so maybe you tell us quickly about that, Grace.
Well, it was back in 2014. I was working and living in India, and I've never ridden a bike before. And I used to, every weekend, when you're in a new country, living in a new country, you want to know it, you go for hikes, you do all this outdoorsy stuff. And I had two housemates, one from Ukraine and another one from Bolivia. And they told me, they were both riders, and they told me, Grace, you're so adventurous. Why don't you join us on a trip to Himalayas? And I'm like, I don't even know how to ride. Are you going to take me on your bike? They're like, no, everyone has to ride their own bike. So you need to learn. And bikes are cheap in Asia. So I bought a bike. I told them, I'm not going to crash any of your bikes. So we went to the dealership, bought a bike. My friend rode it back home, and every morning he would train me, on the basics. Then 3 weeks later, I went to the school, did the test. And like 1.5 months later, we were going on a trip to the Himalayas. And
That's
believe me, it
courageous.
was the hardest thing, most crazy thing I ever did in my life. When I look back, I think, what was I thinking? Because it was my first time in snow. I thought my brain will freeze. We were crossing mountain passes with melting snow, because we had to pass the mountain passes before midday, before the ice started melting. But I was moving at 20 kilometers per hour, literally, true story. And this trip was so challenging because it tested our friendship. Days we didn't talk to each other for like 3 days, but we had to survive. We had to sleep close to each other because they had to keep my freezing brain warm, but we are not talking. And I was like, even if they're not talking to me, I will not stop. I will finish what I started. And in the end, we were all good. I improved as we went on the trip. And since then, I have been hooked to motorbikes. And actually, that helped me because whenever we go for tours, and sometimes you have fast riders and you have slow riders, you have experienced riders and unexperienced riders. And I think to myself, what if my friends left me up on the Himalayas? So I need to put myself in the shoes of this person that I'm guiding. And that experience helps me in the life that I am today, although it moved me from being a Cisco network engineer into a rider full time.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Amazing.
You know,
It's an
you know what I'm
amazing story. Yeah.
you know what I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
sitting on an open fire somewhere in Africa, and listening to your stories.
Oh my God, you'll have to bring duct tape for my
You're
mouth.
making it possible. You're making it possible. November is soon. The tour is starting as from November, right?
Yes, the
Yes.
tour starts, actually plan is the 19th November till 28th of November. That's the tour program.
And if someone would like to know more,
Excuse me?
If someone would like to know more about the tour, should the person get to you personally, or you have a website for that tour?
Yeah, that's the good point. Actually, the best way is to write me directly, to connect me, to send me a direct message, and then I will inform about more details. We're preparing a landing page. Everything is, we're building up everything. Or you can also choose the form I did prepare, which is showing up here now when it says support Masai Mara Enduro Tour, and then it says register, and there you have the possibility to choose. Would you like to have an information or more information about the Masai Mara Enduro Tour, and then I can leave more information.
Is the comment or the link to the Google form on Facebook or on YouTube? Because it depends.
Okay. I did actually all over leave those messages.
All right, thank
more
you
or
so
less.
much.
I think, yeah. I have also then on YouTube. I will put it afterwards. I think there I have still to do it, and I will add them to all those posts where we made it, and I think that's great. And maybe, Grace, we do then another session again where we talk a little bit more about the tour. Maybe you can also show pictures and movies a little bit.
Oh yes.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Today we had a really crazy situation. LinkedIn was writing it doesn't work, and I saw now it works. We are on LinkedIn. Funny somehow, but yeah, it's interesting how it is. I think from
thank
time.
You so much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say. I just wanted to say. I think we have it more or less, right?
Yes, we're done. We're done so far. I would love to thank you so much for the amazing insights, and to encourage you to keep on with the project. It's a great project, and also the other project, reaching children, empowering them. I love that. I'll follow you and I'll help you wherever I can. Thank you so much. Dear Grace, all the best back in Kenya. Dear Andreas, see you at the backstage, or see you both at the backstage. Dear community, thank you so much for joining us. If you'd love to know more, just follow Grace also on LinkedIn or Facebook, and get in touch with Andreas. And you can know more about the projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much also from my side to you, Susan. Thank you very much for taking over that job. Thank you very much, Grace, to be part of Global Riders and to make this possible here. And I also say goodbye to everyone. You too, I see after the stage, backstage quickly. And to the audience, thank you very much. Bye-bye. All the best.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone.